Hello, hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Surprise, I'm live again on a Friday, even though technically my day to go live is on Wednesdays. So welcome. I see Lenora and Sandra are in the chat. Hello to the Picky Girl Nation. Somebody commented on, it might have been the last video I did, that they couldn't read this back here. Excuse me. So now you see what it says. And you can hear the sounds of Mexico City in the background. Hey y'all. Um, I know I do not go live on Fridays, but I didn't go live this past Wednesday, and so I thought I would update y'all before I was MIA for a little bit. Um, I am leaving tonight after I wrap up day 6 of the Get Started Investing Challenge. I leave tonight and I head to Oaxaca, Mexico. And if you've been around, you know, or you heard, or maybe you remember that I have a 3-week artist residency in Oaxaca so that I can learn natural dyeing techniques. I sew. I am a sewist. I make my clothes. You can't see it in frame, but my sewing machine is sitting right here. And so this is something I'd wanted to learn. I'd applied to the project and surprise, surprise, was accepted. When was that? Was that like October? I don't know. Y'all know time is a social construct, so I really don't remember. But I think that was back in like September, October, I applied. And now it is time for me to go for 3 weeks in rural Oaxaca and learn firsthand traditional techniques on how to dye textiles from, I believe the people who will be teaching me are Zapotec. There will not be many English speakers, I don't suspect, which is fine by me because one of my goals in doing this was to put myself in a situation where I would be forced to use my Spanish. I have been struggling to learn Spanish since I left the US in 2016. I didn't get serious about it until 2017. And then I moved to Asia, so I was not practicing Spanish there. I came back to Latin America in 2020 and worked really hard for 2 years. And then this last year has been a whirlwind. And I didn't have time for formal lessons, but I do live in Mexico City. I live in a neighborhood that does not have very many foreigners. So, doing my everyday life, I use Spanish, but I am also an introverted introvert. So, y'all know that means I am not going to go and strike up conversations with strangers because I need to practice. If anything, I avoid talking to people as much as possible, which is not great when you are trying to develop language skills. So, like I said, part of my idea with this was to put myself someplace where I had to speak Spanish, even if it is my horrible toddler broken Spanish, it's gonna have to work. So, part of my preparation for this trip, my big plan was because I was home for the month of December that I would sign up on italki and take Spanish classes. And I kind of did, but I mostly didn't. Um, and then because I mostly didn't in December, because in December I was doing Vlogmas, and I was like, that's enough work. I can't be doing all of this. For the last few days of January before I left, I did sign up for some lessons, and the teacher was like, "You have Spanish. You just got to use it. You just have to talk," which I know. So we will see. I'm not sure what my Wi-Fi situation is going to be in Oaxaca, so I will not promise y'all that we will be back to our regular live schedule because I have no clue. I will be in a very small town. I know there will be Wi-Fi, but will there be sufficient Wi-Fi to live stream? That I don't know. And some people had asked if I was planning to like document this experience. You know, in theory, that sounds like a great idea. In reality, will I do it? I don't know. And if I do film it, will I ever edit the content and get it to y'all to see? I don't know, but I will definitely share pictures because that's the easiest thing for me to share. I'll share pictures on the community tab on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you want to do that so that you will see those. And if you are subscribed, make sure that you turn on notifications. YouTube sent me something the other day and said only like 16% of the people who are subscribed to this channel have notifications turned on. And so I know during Vlogmas, where I went live every day at 2 p.m. Eastern, there were people who were like, oh, I didn't know you were live. I didn't know. That's because y'all didn't have your notifications turned on. And it just dawned on me almost 7 minutes into this. I have not bothered to introduce myself or anything. So if there are new people who are still here, thank you for hanging in. My name is Adelia Abor-Sade, aka Picky Girl Travels the World. Welcome to the Picky Girl Nation. On this channel, we talk about my life and adventures living abroad, which I've done since 2016. My adventures traveling, both domestically here in Mexico where I live, as well as internationally. And and we talk about money and finances because in order to live a life that you love, to live that dream life, you've got to have money. You've got to put your money to work for you, and you've got to master your money. So we talk about all of those things on this channel. And if that sounds like you, welcome. Glad you found us. Um, yeah, so that's who I am now that I introduced myself. Just a quick daily update. I don't know. I don't know. I also the algorithm on YouTube, I'm not sure how the algorithm will feel about that. So I don't know. But I will try and share some of the experience with y'all. Definitely through photos here on the community tab on YouTube. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you should do that. I'm Picky Girl Travels on Instagram because I do generally post to my stories because that is super easy. So that is what's going on in the bigger picture. I know some of y'all are probably wondering, but when you didn't go live on Wednesday, what was that about? And I dropped a photo that was intended to be a hint. It wasn't a great hint, but it was close. It was close. Um, on Wednesday night, I could not go live because I had gotten news that I had been approved for a new apartment and needed to go and sign all of the documents associated with that. And everybody involved in the process had to be there to sign those documents. As y'all know, I'm leaving tonight to go to Oaxaca. Other people involved were leaving on Thursday. So, yes, the apartment search turned out to be successful, but it was so stressful. And looking for an apartment here in Mexico City was never an easy thing. I've got 2 other videos on this channel that I will link in the description if you are interested in that. But I will say because I found my own apartment in 2017, I found my own apartment when I came back in 2020. That video I made was in 2020, 2021 about that process. I will say I even helped some people find apartments this time last year. Since last year, the process has gotten even harder. So, that's the one thing I want to communicate in case there is somebody watching this and they're like, yes, I'm going to move to Mexico City and they're trying to figure out how to find an apartment. It's hard. And we'll talk a little bit about why it is so difficult. But yes, I did find an apartment. There's multiple factors that made this difficult. Why is finding an apartment and getting an apartment always difficult in Mexico City? Unlike other parts of the country where you can just say, hey, I want to rent this place for 2 months. You down? And they're like, you got money? And everybody gets on. Mexico City has not really been quite like that. Short-term leases are virtually non-existent here because technically they're illegal. I know there are people who have 6-month leases, but they are not valid in a court of law. So most landlords here insist on a 12-month lease, which is not a big deal for me because I live here. But another requirement that sets Mexico City apart from other places is that they require you to have a cosigner who is going to guarantee, basically a guarantor that is going to guarantee that you will pay. And a lot of them, okay, I thought I left something cooking, but I didn't. A lot of them want the guarantor to own property in the city and own it outright. So y'all, let's think about that. How many regular local people know somebody who owns a property outright and is willing to sign on the dotted line and say, yeah, I'll put this up as collateral in case these people don't pay their rent. How many foreigners know somebody like that? They don't. So those two things have always made it difficult here. Now we add to that, there is an insurance policy that you can buy. And I did that when I rented this apartment. My first apartment, that was a direct contract. I think that was his first time ever renting an apartment. I don't think the man even asked me for my passport. Sweet guy though. When I got this apartment, because I did not have a guarantor, they were like, okay, you have to pay for this insurance policy, which basically does the same thing. If you don't pay your rent, the policy kicks in. Well, now you have to have both. You have to have somebody who will guarantee, plus they make you pay for a policy. Crazy. Okay. On top of that, there are very few apartments available. I said this previously in the video that I made about finding an apartment. The vast majority of properties never find it online. And so if you're a foreigner coming here, your expectation of like an MLS system or walking into a building and it having a leasing office, that's not how it works. So the vast majority of properties never ever make it online. You have to walk the neighborhood and find for rent signs and contact the number. Sometimes it's owners, sometimes it's agents, it varies. This period that exists right now, there are virtually no for rent signs. A lot of for sale signs, but no for rent signs. So yes, Kimmy, it's a lot, which is why, excuse me, I started looking like more than 6 months before my lease was up because I knew it would take a long time. So, about were you required to pay multiple months rent deposit and security deposit? Security deposit, yes. First month's rent. In the past, let's say you didn't have a guarantor, you didn't want to do a policy, they might accept multiple rents, multiple deposits in lieu of that. In my experience, nobody was even considering that. When I would say things like, I don't have a guarantor. Are there other options? Opening the door for us to negotiate. They were like, nope. So it is not a renter's market right now. Um, so just know in Mexico City, it's hard. I saw a video earlier today while I was packing. Um, this guy, he's in a different part of Mexico, and he was talking about how he found his apartment. And in 10 hours, he everything he did would absolutely not work here in Mexico City. And that's what struck me. And that's kind of the thing I want to leave y'all with. Um, Especially if you've lived in other parts of Mexico and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go kick it in Mexico City for 3, 6 months and think that the real estate market is going to work the same way. It wouldn't. He was like, he posted in a group on Facebook what he was looking for, but he put the price in dollars. I would never do that here. He It turned out to be kind of uh, he rented a place sight unseen. I'd never do that here. Absolutely, I'd never do that. It turned out to be an Airbnb, and he was saying how that was affordable. No, here Airbnbs are sky high. Also, rent is sky high. That's the other thing. It's looking bad out here if you're trying to rent. Rents are sky high. Airbnbs are even worse. What else did he say? I forgot what else he said, but like everything in that video, I was like, oh my gosh, this would never. Okay, I couldn't remember the guy's name, Bill Dallas. That's great elsewhere, but that won't work here. So, and notice I did say I was packing. I think many of you thought from the picture I posted that I was moving. That picture is from this week. The old G's who've been here for a while will remember that when I moved into this apartment, I bought it was in the midst of the height of the pandemic. So like going to stores and shopping wasn't the easiest thing to do. Um, so I bought a used sofa from somebody in a Facebook group. I got it here only to discover it was too big for the elevator and it was too big to go up the stairs. And so the movers tied it with some ropes and hoisted it up, which meant whenever I left or whenever I wanted a new sofa, I was going to have to find somebody to do that to get it out. I ended up giving the sofa away under the condition that like, hey, you gotta get it out. So somebody did do that. But that actually happened before I found out I had an apartment. So I was gonna be here without a sofa for however long. Um, so yeah. But what gets really fun is I leave for Oaxaca tonight and I will be gone for 3 weeks, but I need to be out of this apartment in 28 days. So it's going to be a little crazy when I do get back from Oaxaca. So life is very, I guess we can say it's exciting, but right now it is also super duper chaotic for me. Okay. All right. I see Gerald asks, can you recommend a modest budget to rent in a fairly safe area of Mexico City? I just did in December, I did a breakdown. If you go to the Vlogmas playlist. One of the days in Vlogmas I did, it was toward the end. It's like December 20, it might have been December 25th. I did a update on my cost of living and I talk about what things cost like utilities, cell phone, and all of that. I've done that in 2022 and I did that in 2021. So you can kind of compare, just like everywhere else, Mexico City has definitely gotten more expensive. Prices have gone up. So yeah, life is lifing right now. Absolutely not boring. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to do what I can do while I'm here to do it. But when I go to Oaxaca, I'm fully immerse myself in that experience, and all of this apartment stuff will, you know, have to be dealt with when I get back. Um, so yeah, that's what's been going on with me. That is why we were not live on Wednesday. Um, and why maybe we will be live next Wednesday, maybe not. I think that's all I got for y'all because actually I do need to get back to packing because I've got 4 days to get out of here when I get back. So I hope y'all are having a great Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. And again, if you want to see photos, definitely that. I will be posting those here on the community tab and over on IG. If you're not subscribed or following or got notifications on, do that to get those on. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.